And so sometimes we just don't have those kind of conversations with each other, which is very valuable. These are some things, but I just want to say why I got started and when I got started with writing the family history. I retired in '99 from Denver Public Schools in Denver, Colorado, and I don't know what gave me the idea to get started to write in the family history, but I realized we didn't have anything in writing about who we were, where we came from, and anything of that nature. We had never seen but one grandmother, and that was Mama's mother, Grandma Emma. And they never talked about my dad's mother and father, so we didn't know anything about him. And I don't think I had sense enough to ask either. They might have told me something if I had asked, but I don't remember ever asking because I never seen them before. There was very little talk about them. So I didn't know anything, but I thought, the year 2000, I thought, there's got to be something about these people somewhere. So I started asking questions. By that time, my parents were gone. So I figured, if I don't start collecting some data now, we're going to end up with nothing. So I started writing, and I decided, I think we need to write, the topic needs to be from whence we came. So I started asking my siblings questions, because being the youngest, I didn't know very much about anything. So I started asking them about different things, and I tried to interview each one of them. Some of them were good about giving information. Others were very reluctant to give out information, because some of the things they weren't clear about themselves, because nobody had ever told them anything. So I just got on the computer and started writing. And the one thing I found out, that the difference between writing here, where things happen, and writing back in Denver was a whole different story. Here, the information flowed. I could just get on the computer and my thinking would be faster than my typing. Okay, but when I get to Denver, it didn't flow that way. So then, that was my understanding then of writer's block. I don't know whether that's writer's block or not, but I considered it being writer's block because it didn't flow the same way. It happened here, and questions would come to mind that I wanted to ask, and then different people would tell me, ask so-and-so, ask this one about it. Mama, we weren't interested in this kind of thing. She had a difficult childhood, and she wanted to let it stay there. She wanted to let that stay there. My brother Benny knew a lot, and he shared a lot with me. And Willard, I asked Willard, the question I asked Willard was, what was your life like after Alcorn? Because once we finished at Alcorn, I went away. I went out of the area and worked. I worked in Columbia, Mississippi, where he did his student teaching. Okay, so then we weren't together for quite a few years. So he told me, he said, I tell you what you do. You ask me the questions and I'll answer. So we had a very good interview, and I was able to put it on tape and then write it out. So it was quite a deal. Yeah, so my oldest brother passed away after World War II. Uncle Son.
I'm glad you mentioned Uncle Son, because that's one question we never met, but we don't know a lot about him growing up or anything like that. So.
Okay, he and Mama Wee, being the oldest, were the ones who really should get a lot of credit for everything that we have when it comes to the land and everything, because they were there to help work. By the time I came along, they had already purchased the land down in the woods, They call that Sam Williams down there. So he worked with my, at that time, like now, the major jobs that were here was logging and farming. So he went and worked in the woods with my dad, cut timber or whatever. And the story is in these papers about him. Yeah, they're in there about what his part that he played in helping to get the salaries up for people working in the woods. The older men, I was told, did not want the young people to strike, but they said they were not satisfied with the amount of money they were making. So the young people told them, the young men told them, so we if they don't give us what we asked for, we are gonna strike. Okay, and they asked for a certain amount of money, and they got it. So the family has always been instrumental in, like, for instance, like with the civil rights movement. They've always been instrumental in doing stuff and making a difference in the community and helping the community move forward. So then he went. Then he went in the service in World War II, and he got. My oldest brother is John Dennis Cooper, and we called him Son. I don't know why, but every one of us have a nickname. I don't know why they named everybody. Gave him a name and then gave him a nickname. But I think some of the names that they gave us, I would imagine it was Daddy who gave us these nicknames. The girls had real sweet names, so he was very carried away about his kids. He loved his children. They didn't say they love you, but they showed you that they love you. So John was born December 23rd in 1922. He died December 21st in 1954. And the cause of his death was heart failure. He had fluid around his heart, and at that time they didn't know how to get that fluid. So they used to do a procedure that they called tapping the kidneys. And the doctor would tell my parents that it was a 50-50 chance that they would be able to get this fluid off his body, and one day it just flooded his heart out. So he went in World War. He was a World War II veteran. He was stationed in Liverpool, England. My brother Nolan told me that he sailed from Northport, Virginia to Liverpool, England, and he was a crane operator in the military. He was wounded there, and but he received an honorable discharge, and he was disabled for the rest of his life. He wasn't able to work at all. He was a jolly person. He was a lot of fun. He liked to tell jokes and make my dad laugh. And Daddy would usually say, "Stop lying, you and Benny." But the two of them made a good comedy team, and he got out of a lot of things that he would have been involved in. But he got out of being spanked a lot because of his humor. So he did a wonderful job there with us. He was the oldest, and when he said something, that's what went. I had a flip mouth, and I used to get in trouble all the time. I did. I just didn't know how to guard that tongue. And he would let me know when I say something, what the consequences would be, and he would hold on to it too. So before going into the Army, he was before going into the Army, in the 40s, he was instrumental in helping to change the working condition in the logging business. He wasn't happy with the wages that he was receiving, so he and a group of the young men got together and said, we're gonna we're going to ask for a raise. And the older men were shocked because they were happy with what they were getting. They were happy to have a job. And so they just figured, well, don't mess with that. Leave that alone. Then at that time they drafted them in the military. So he went in service, and like I said, he got an honorable discharge from there. He had a very short life, but it was well lived. And I put a quote in there that Dr. Martin Luther King once said, the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in the moment of conflict and convenience, but where he stands at times of change and controversy. And there was a lot of controversy at the time, so he stood up to that. So that was John. And then Mama Wee was born in March 13, 1924, and she died May 8 in 2015. And she had pneumonia. That was the ultimate cause of her death. And, she lived a very productive life and raised 7 children. And then she married Mr. Lewis, and he helped her raise her kids, and then they had 1 child together, Malcolm. And this list goes on. And that was Bessie. Bessie was born February 25th, 1926, and she died September 3rd, 1989. And the cause of her death was a heart attack, I think. That's what her son told me. Bessie is one of them that had a middle name. All of us didn't have a middle name. Bessie's middle name, I don't know where Agnes came from, but her name is Bessie Agnes Cooper Lee. And Bessie was born February 25th, 1926. She died September 3rd, 1989, and the cause of her death was a heart attack. And I think it's important that we talk about cause of death, because a lot of time when you go to the doctor, like you're young now, when you get older, they'll be asking you questions like, your family history. So if we don't plant that kind of seed with our people, they won't know, because the older people, all of them just probably died of natural causes. That's what they said, because there was nobody there to
check them out.
No, they weren't. They didn't have a family doctor as such. We were very fortunate here in Woodville that Dr. Ketchen was our doctor, our family doctor. And the first thing he asked me when my dad passed away in the Veterans Hospital in New Orleans. And Dr. Ketchen says, "Emma, what did Nolan die from?" And it was heart failure. Okay, so we got bad genes, so be sure you take care of yourself. Be sure you take care of yourself. So try to eat as best you can. Bessie moved to New Orleans at an early age. I don't know how old she was when she went to New Orleans, but she stayed with my dad's sister Frances, and Frances had 2 daughters, and then one of the cousins and Lucille's daughter Bessie was there, and they all lived together. Bessie was active in church as all of the family was, and very active with the Eastern Stars, and they welcomed everybody into their home. The majority of the people from Woodville went to New Orleans or Baton Rouge to work, because there was no work here. Has never been that much work here, but she and her husband Jim always welcomed people into their home. As Mama